my next guest now, a manager, an editor, the big guy in charge of blogging with the boys at SB Nation, RJ Ochoa. We're just going to dig right into it. Trade deadline. Thanks for hopping on here. I did not touch the Cowboys at all today. So Quinnen Williams, Dallas Cowboy. You think this is a massive win. Why?
I think it's a massive win for the future for the Cowboys. To be clear, I don't think anybody outside of the deepest homers that there are believes the Cowboys can dig out of this 3-5-1 hole. But I know I've told you in the past that the Cowboys have really been stumbling as a franchise since that 2023 wildcard loss to Green Bay. And this finally feels like picking themselves up and dusting themselves off and committing to some sort of plan. The next 2 years, Logan Wilson, obviously another trade acquisition for the Cowboys, appear to be, for lack of a better term, their window. And they finally appear, again, to be taking something seriously, which is a breath of fresh air for this franchise.
I want to take a look at what the Cowboys have gained and lost since the MICAH. You're saying it's about the future. I agree with that. I want to get back to the timing of all this and the essence of the meaning of time with this Cowboys culture, really. But look, now we have Quinnen, we've got Kenny, who I love, Logan Wilson, who I love. Two teams that those are my two teams, the Packers and the Bengals. It doesn't really offset the impact of losing a generational player like MICAH Parsons, though, does it?
I don't think so. And I think if you're trying to put together some sort of, this is clearly what the Cowboys have been doing all along, and this was the end game they had in mind when they traded MICAH Parsons, I don't think you're evaluating who the Cowboys are. They're a team that has floated in the wind, been like the leaves falling from the trees that Jerry Jones loves to talk about. And it does seem like they have recognized and reconciled that maybe they played too stupid of a game and they won too stupid of a prize. And at some point, you have to start acting a little bit differently as an NFL franchise, a lot like your contemporaries, like your two teams. Maybe not the Bengals these days. But that's, I think, the cope, honestly, that people have, is that maybe they have finally learned a lesson and are starting to be a little bit more proper.
Kenny Clark, by the way, under contract for 2 more years. I mean, how surprised were you in this deal? Were you just like, what is going on? What was the vibe?
I would say yes, but it felt very classic Cowboys. Outside of, I think that people look at Jerry and the Cowboys and the gambler and all the kind of tropes and whatnot and feel like they're always the team that's going to spin big in free agency. That's not their MO. But they are not a team that can stand irrelevance. They are Tinkerbell. They need applause to live. And bordering where they are at 3-5-1 with so many important games, so many primetime games, and not to mention their Thanksgiving tilt coming up, that's not their style. They have to have some sort of juice to power the rest of this season. And that may have been the primary motivation, and establishing a more legitimate future may have just been a nice consolation prize for everybody else.
I was thinking about you coming on this morning and just like the Jerry vantage point, everything he's been saying in the media, all of that lately. And it's just like, I want to know from your perspective, covering the team as closely as you do, knowing as much as you do, much more than I do. What is the factor of time in the calculus? There's been no Super Bowls, and if you're doing like a math equation, no Super Bowls over time with Jerry's time. Do you know what I mean? He's in a season of his life that I like that they went all in. I like that they did, not all in, but they made a move. They need to make these kind of moves. What is the calculus with the factor of time? Because you're saying, I'm even thinking about the Colts are doing their new leadership with the passing of time. Like, what is the importance of time?
I would offer that time is a little bit irrelevant, right? People, it's awkward to talk about, but people like to talk about how time is fleeting for the Cowboys and their leadership, and I think we can all understand that. And time is precious in general with regards to life. But people, I think people get way too dramatic when it comes to the Cowboys on a national level. Not my friend Kay, obviously, but people like to say, oh, they've been doing this for 30 years. And their drought, by the way, will officially turn 30 this year if they don't reach the title game or the Super Bowl, obviously. And they haven't been the same way for 30 years. They've been very successful. They've won a lot of regular season games. You could argue they've just had their worst performances in the most critical moments. And nobody is atoning for that or making excuses or justifying that. But I think that they are trapped. They have this weird habit of falling short in these big time moments. And I think that they don't do what the Colts did, right? Like the Colts look at their team and say, we have a chance now. I mean, the move is trading for someone like Quinnen Williams when MICAH Parsons is on his rookie contract, capitalizing when Dak Prescott is on his rookie contract. But they don't do those things. And so it's difficult to connect the dots or say, this is clearly the plan. The plan is just what it is today. It doesn't have to make sense with regards to what it was yesterday. Tomorrow may be different. But this specific trade suggests that maybe they are establishing an actual plan moving forward.
You got to come back on. I couldn't disagree with you more. I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. What do you mean time doesn't matter?
That's who they are, though.
Is Jerry Tom Brady cloning himself? What are you talking about? Like, what are we? Does he not want to win a ring more than anything ever? Like, now he's got all this money to spend. I think time should be the fire under everyone's butt to have them go all in the second the season's over. No?
I don't disagree with you.
You and me we're gonna rap about this in a bit. RJ, appreciate you and your time, your analysis. Go over to SB Nation's Blogging with the Boys on YouTube. I know you're not. Jerry, let's go, Jerry. We'll be back. Bye.